Throughout our show in the last 3 hours, our election panel has unpacked the biggest stories of the past 37 days, and there have been some big ones. So for their final thoughts on the race as voters head to the polls, they've already started in Atlantic Canada. Let's welcome back political strategist Amanda Alvaro, former Deputy Conservative leader Lisa Raitt, and former NDP MP Craig Scott. It's been great to have you all here. You know, we've talked a lot about the importance of Canadian unity and sovereignty in this election campaign. Boy, that's come up a lot. But something that is starting to bubble to the surface is this idea of unity. And because this race is so close, it means at least a portion of this country, a large portion of this country, is going to be disappointed whatever the result. How do we handle the issue of unity? Because that is not trades or tariffs. That is the fabric of who we are. I'll start with you, Craig.
Well, I'm pretty disposed in this moment in particular to the idea of unity across political parties. I called for a national unity government in mid-January, gave a bunch of reasons related to Trump and the need for a unified resolve, if you like. I'm not sure we're going to be there again, other than if there's a minority Liberal government, they're going to have to pick up some support. But my biggest concern is, one of the biggest concerns is the dynamics that have begun to come out of Alberta that have been torqued by the Trump factor and by the particular style and sense of grievance of the Premier of Alberta. I would very much like to see, after election night tonight, that at least half a dozen, if not 6 to 8 to 9 seats, go for parties other than the Conservatives. I think it's healthy for Canada.
In Alberta in particular, or out west?
In Alberta. It's healthy for the country, for regions that have give the impression of being homogenous, that people see that that's not the case, and that they hear other voices. So that's kind of what I'm looking for out west, apart from all the three-way and other battles going on in Vancouver Island. But on the unity front, Alberta and how the other parties fare, I think is going to be major after the election.
We faced unity crisis in this country before, but this feels different, and it's from a different part of the country. At least it's a louder part of the country this time around. Lisa, what are your thoughts on unity?
And it comes down to the fact that Alberta and Saskatchewan feel that they haven't been able to make decisions around their economic sovereignty in the last 10 years, and they want to see a change in that. So it's very issue-centric in terms of how they're voting. That being said, what the leader who wins tonight and the leader who doesn't win tonight need to both do is to be magnanimous and make sure you not only not criticize the people who didn't vote for you, but also put the hand out. And that is both the winner and the loser. I think that is going to be a good direction for the country if we can see those two gentlemen do that.
We're already fighting south of the border. We don't need to be fighting with ourselves as well.
Indeed, yeah.
Amanda?
And that may be really the unifying factor, right? The backdrop of the 51st state comments. I mean, this has been a time, watch Canadians come together and unify in ways that I think we haven't seen in a long time. And we don't expect those comments to go away from Trump. Trump's not going anywhere for, another 3 years and 10 months. So he's going to be the gift that keeps on giving. He's going to be giving us a lot of reasons to come together and to unify. We've seen that the provinces, the premiers, have mostly been able to do that. And I think against that backdrop, whoever the next prime minister is will use some of that to bring the country back together.
It's really the sort of ballot issue that we haven't really talked about yet, which is, we've talked about trade, we've talked about tariffs, we've talked about Trump, we've talked about cost of living and housing, but unity will also be something that this next prime minister has to deal with, and the premiers. The premiers have had more impact and influence in, I think, this election, or at least with the voters, than we've seen in a really long time. So those are two sort of very local, very Canadian issues that they'll have to deal with. Can I ask you all about advanced polling? I mean, I was excited to see so much of the country turn out to vote, almost a third, depending on which numbers that you're basing that on. The data from Elections Canada, we know, said 43,000 people voted early in places like Carleton, for example. So, Lisa, how are the Conservatives interpreting these advanced polling numbers? Because the Conservatives waited to release their platform until after advanced voting was done.
And I have nothing to do with those decisions, but I can tell you what I know about my riding. I went and voted on Monday night, and one of the volunteers said to me, we've got 27% of the total vote has been cast in this advanced poll. But if you compare it against the actual voter turnout, you're looking at 45% of the vote is in the box.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
So that's wild. So now you've got to identify, if you can, because we don't do exit polls here, you've got to identify where the vote is, and you've got to pull out whoever hasn't voted and make sure they get to the polls. But it's not a lot of people.
Final thoughts as we head into tonight, where the leaders' heads and hearts might be, what they're thinking, what they're contemplating as they look to a new day tomorrow morning. I'll start very quickly with you. We'll take a quick around the table.
Well, we've talked about magnanimity coming from, I think, obviously the two leading parties right now in this election. And I think what Jagmeet Singh has to say to the country after going through a really tough election. I mean, we were in pole position ahead of the Liberals 3 months ago. The dynamics of NDP voters basically voting for unity, but also to an extent because they did not want Pierre Poilievre-led Conservatives, has resulted in a major squeeze play. But he has shown great dignity and energy. I think what he has to say to us tonight or tomorrow about the fight for Canada and the fact that the NDP is not going anywhere, taking our lumps, will be really important.
Listen, I'm up against a commercial break, which I know the three of you understand. So we're going to say goodbye here, but we're going to see you all back for our results panel tomorrow. I want to thank you all for coming in person, for spending the morning with us.
Sure.
Appreciate you all being here.
No problem.
If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.